maybe let's talk about VISP, because this has been, it's ridiculous. Global News steals her work 2 years later, and then the chicken-livered conservatives, now that Global News has re-reported Tamara Ugolini's reporting, the stink of the rebel is off it, and now they're like, oh, we need to investigate the VISP program. Global News, I'm 99.9% certain, is relying on proactively released access to information filings that Tamara Ugolini did. I don't even think they filed their own access to information requests. The reason is because the data is identical. And so I know Tamara reported on this at least 2 years ago. And nobody cared back then. And now Global News takes Tamara's work, barfs it back up, and the chickens in the Conservative Party are like, yeah, now we need to review the vaccine injury program. So for Conservative, and you know what? Fine, good. I'm glad they're doing it, but this is 2 years too late. A lot of people were hurt in the last 2 years when the Conservatives should have been doing something about it. So they're calling for an investigation into the Vaccine Injury Support Program, or VISP, because a majority of the money is going to consultants. Wow, who'd have figured in the McKinsey oligarchy of Canada, who'd have figured that the consultants were getting rich while vaccine injury claims are paid next to nothing or denied altogether. It's led by Dan Menzies, the Conservative health critic and deputy chairman of the Commons Health Committee. The group requested in a letter that MP and committee chairperson Hedy Fry. You know what? I'm always shocked to see that she's still alive. She's got Eartha Kitt vibes, but in not a charming way. Convened for an emergency hearing. Fry, naturally, did not respond to their request. The letter said it's more than mismanagement. It appears to be a blatant misuse of tax dollars. Liberals handed out tens of millions of dollars to high-priced consultants while the very Canadians this program was intended to help have been neglected. It also signatories also include Matt Strauss, Helena Conants, and Red Deer MP Burton Bailey. And then it goes on to say Oxaro received $50.6 million in taxpayer money, with 34 million of that into administrative costs, while injured Canadians received nearly 17 million. This is Tamara Ugolini's work. They took a proactive release of Tamara's work, because if you file an access request and then after a certain amount of time it gets dumped on the proactive release site, and then everybody else can look at it too. What we do at Rebel News is we publish the documents in full, so you don't have to wait to check our work or run with our work. Global News took her work, and then now the Conservatives are doing something, which is cowardly, but hopefully things will change.
Well, two things, Sheila. First of all, I think you've kind of lost the room with Hedy Fry being the committee chairwoman. I love the aide saying that Dr. Fry will not be available for interviews.
What does she do? What is she, a volunteer firefighter?
Yeah,
putting
exactly.
out burning crosses.
Yeah, putting out Ku Klux Klan crosses in British Columbia, which were optical delusions. Secondly, it would be, I mean, I don't want to sound like we're whiners here, but when we do all the heavy lifting, when we break a story, it would be kind of nice to be acknowledged. We do the same. If the CBC gets a scoop, we will say in our reporting, according to a CBC story. So where's the quid pro quo? And Sheila, I remember, I'm not going to mention the media outlet. This is how bad it is, folks, when it comes to rebel derangement syndrome. We had broken a story out of Manitoba. We had film footage. The competing media outlet used the footage and went to the extent of getting rid of the Rebel News bug, right? That little Rebel News logo. They actually blotted that out. Such was their theft, and I would argue plagiarism. So, I mean, come on, guys. It's kind of in the bailiwick of ethics in terms of journalism. if you're going to quote a source, then attribute the source.
Yeah. That what do you expect? They get all this money
Yeah.
to just chase our work
I
and
know.
steal our work. And then out of the other side of their mouth, say that we're not journalists. And it's like, well, if we're not journalists, quit stealing all of our work. How about that?
Isn't it
You figure it out
amazing?
on your own.
It's amazing. It's so funny, Sheila, because we've talked about this before, going back to a year ago, January, when I got falsely arrested and assaulted by Uncle Fester of the Mounties. The mainstream media in Canada was forced to cover the story because it was going international. And the lengths they would go to describe me not as a journalist, Rebel News personality, Rebel News entertainer, Rebel News commentator. Listen, I went to journalism school for 3 years. I've worked in journalism for 40 years. I've won awards in journalism. I don't know, Sheila, does that sound kind of journalisty to you? But, what do I know?
They seem to think that journalism is a degree you get and not an action you commit, right?
But I've even got that degree from the former Ryerson. It still doesn't count because
we don't hold it against you.
Yeah, thank you.